Thanks for watching Retirement Talk. I'm John Maxon here with Dan Benson. And Dan, we're going to talk a lot today about something we get asked about all the time. That's how to calculate your total net worth, what you're really worth, which essentially is what you own minus what you owe. It's not that complicated, but there's some moving parts. We want to unpack that today.
Yeah, and I think it's important, a lot of wealth has grown in the last 10 years and home values have increased. And I meet with people all the time and they're like, oh, Dan, I can't believe I'm a millionaire. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, that's really awesome, and congratulate people for hard work and all that. And then you start talking to them and they're like, well, I got this house, it's worth, $1.2 million, but I owe $700,000 on it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I got 20 grand in the bank and some 401k. Guess what? You're not a millionaire. No. That's not how you calculate. No. Just because you own $1 million asset, it's the amount of that asset minus debt and some other things that it's important to really unpack. What are you truly worth? If you died, what is somebody going to actually get from your stuff?
That's right. If you get 20 grand in the bank, you're pretty identical to what I tell my 3 kids. You're poor. Okay? That's just the bottom line. And so net worth is, do you like that? I tell them all the time, they're poor, right? They're teenagers. They have nothing, right? So listing everything you own, okay? This is a little homework assignment that you can do. It's amazing how many people have never done that. Like, this is your bank accounts. What do you own in real estate? Like, you're truly, all kidding aside, your net value of the real estate you own in this market, right? High interest rates today. There's no question real estate has come down. Certainly not like 2008, but in every area, there's probably a few out there that might be somewhat immune. Nashville's certainly still a pretty good market, but overall real estate is down. And what about your investment accounts? Okay. If you own a car, can you sell that for something? Well, come on. I mean, used cars aren't really worth that much. It's a depreciating asset. Your sports car might be really cool to you and everything else, but what is it really worth? Probably not much in the grand scheme of things. So really being honest with yourself about what you have, the true value of what you have. And then the flip side to that, which we know is really high across America right now, is the debt that you have.
Right. Yeah, it's basically assets minus liabilities. What do you have? What's the value? And then what do you owe? And so it's very simple to just create 2 lists, as John mentioned. What do I own? A home, a car, all these things. And then out beside it, if you have any debt, meaning you don't actually own that house in full, or you don't own that car in full, what are the debts? And then you can just do a simple addition, subtract the debts, and here's your net worth. We're going to give you an example in a minute, but I think this is really interesting. Out of last year, 2022 was a really tough year across the board. And in investment accounts, a lot of investment accounts went down in value. The S&P 500 was down 19%. So on average, depending on how you were invested, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But here's what's interesting. What happened to your home value in 2022? That go up or down? For most, it went up substantially. So here's the thing. In a year in a recession where people were conflicted about investments and what's going on in the world, if you were to actually go back to 2022 January and do a net worth statement, go December, do a net worth statement, it's likely that your net worth in that recession stayed the same or actually increased. Because we saw home values going up at 25 to 50% in a 12 to 18 month span. So understanding your net worth can really help give perspective to different market conditions. It's not just what's happening in the market. It's not just what's my home worth. It's taking all of those things together to give you a real view as to what's going on with the value of your estate, and is it growing or not?
Yeah, so let's give everybody just a really quick example, okay? Really quick example, let's say you own a $500,000 house. Your house is worth $500,000 and you don't owe anything on it. Congratulations, that's an awesome thing to have a house paid for. And let's say you've got $100,000 in retirement accounts, $10,000 in your checking account, and then you owe 40 grand on a car, okay? You owe $40,000. So you got $610,000 in that scenario of assets minus $40,000 in debt, okay? So assets minus debt, that's going to give you a net worth of $570,000. Pretty simple, easy to follow, something that you should keep up with. actually calculating your overall net worth is something that, Dan, you and I do every year. I think people need to do that.
Well, you should do it at least once a year to figure out, are you moving in the right direction or are you not? And if things are going down, your net worth is going down, look at those past year numbers to figure out what caused that. And then you can really determine where do you need to spend your time and attention to help continue to build that net worth over time. You work hard every day, make sure that you're paying attention to that, tracking it, and you know exactly where you're going. Well, thanks for watching today's episode here on Retirement Talk. Remember to subscribe to get all the latest episodes below. And again, thanks for watching.